There are two participants in this conference. Please announce yourself.
This is the 523 Happy Hour with your host, Kelly Lincoln, here on netrootsradio.com. Oh.
Where's the beef?
Yes, indeed, it is me. And here we are. It is, I guess, Saturday. I know you're listening. Yes, it is indeed Saturday. And you're listening to, yes, indeed, a rather confused, giddy, my normal state, Kelly Lincoln. I hadn't, well, my week's been interesting. Last 2 weeks have been interesting. I did a Twitch live stream. I'm experimenting with Twitch and live streaming this show live on Wednesday evenings, and then using this audio, the audio from that as a replay, or even doing it like right now, extremely late at night. I have three people. I had three people following me on Twitch, which is pretty good for a first show, and all the OBS lag and other assorted nonsense. And I think I may have, if I did a show, I can't remember. My depression is such, and my memory is shot, that I can't remember if I did a show last week or not. No, I did not, because this is the show I was going to do last week. Depression sucks. And anyway, I had 3 followers. I now have 2. I had to ban one of them from my channel because he used a banned word, creatively spelled, for his screen name, and I actually got snookered into pronouncing it, and it was a very creative spelling of the N-word. Although I might have probably been censored out because Twitch is very cool like that. And my only complaint about Twitch is that I was recording this show, and also doing the live stream at the same time, using my tablet for Twitch. There's a cool app. Streamlabs has a iPad app for streaming to Twitch, and other and YouTube and some other streaming sites. My only complaint is that it does not save that recording, which I'm not really that upset about. But it's, I had great bandwidth and all of that, and then it all just froze and whatever else happens like this. And how did the rest of my week go after that? It was a good week. We had good weather sometimes here in New York. Today was gorgeous. Friday was beautiful. And, of course, I spent it all putting the show together. Yippee! That's how I learn these things. Now, I also had it set up so I could use my Powerbeats wireless headphones, which I got as a birthday gift a few years ago. Finally got my Shure working. We'll find out if they're still working tomorrow on my way to work, if they can pick up the Bluetooth from my phone. They're really nice, crystal, beautiful Bluetooth headphones. And so I forgot to take them off when I left my studio, and they just gonna reconnect. Whoops, wrong one. Welcome to Dead Air City. There we go. Let me see if I've got them going now. Core audio, yes. Well, I can't hear myself coming through here, but that's okay. We'll find out if you hear. I'll just have to mute the microphone, that's all. I've been doing some thinking, and for me that's always dangerous. Oh, yes. I went up to Albany this past last Tuesday to lobby for the New York Health Act, which would implement, should it be passed, will implement single payer in New York State for which will cover everybody in New York State, and of course, and we got up there at about the meeting. The hearing started at around 10 a.m., I guess, and when we left, the hearing was still going on. We're on the bus. Now, there were 24 witnesses, 24 people, witnesses that were scheduled to speak on this. And we, on the bus, and our coordinator gets up and informs us that they are still on witness number 4. And they had 17 more witnesses to go. Needless to say, the hearing was adjourned at 10 p.m. or thereabouts. The audio is available, and it's in 2 parts. That's how long it was. And so we were doing some lobbying as well, just like here. And it's a very simple way of being active in the community. If I had not had health insurance, I never would have been diagnosed with major depression, nor would I have been diagnosed with stage 1A breast cancer, which I am done with all my chemotherapy and all my therapies and all of that, so thank you for asking. And we visited several, senators' offices to drop materials off, encouraging them to vote in favor of the act, because everybody needs to be covered. I have a neighbor who was just diagnosed with, no surprise, cancer. He was a smoker, but he also let the thing that was bothering him go a little too long, but they believe it's treatable, so he's not too far gone on that, which makes me very, very happy. He's a good guy. We talk a lot. We've got a lot in common. Photography. I'm teaching him how to use computer. But he hasn't when he's feeling well enough for that to happen. I had planned on. I'm still probably going to go into it because I have a ton of time left on language, and I was realizing today that what 45 Thwimp is doing is he's using his playbook from Trump University. So I was reading The Art of the Set, which was 4 pages that were entered into evidence for the lawsuit. And I realized that not only did he more or less ripped off Tony Robbins, but he's using this technique on us with which is the roller coaster of emotions. Because this introduction, he blasts us, he probes, see what's going to work, then he tweaks his goals, and then he goes to the commit. And he's done this with the people with his groundlings. These are the same people that would have been snookered and thrown into so much debt with Trump University with that idea of getting rich quick. In fact, if you've been listening to the news, you've been hearing that, oh, no, tariffs, China pays that in their taxes, and less exports, and blah, 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 and imports, and blah, blah, blah. No, we're not. Americans aren't paying taxes on it. That's a big lie. That's part of the set. That's a reframe. It's called a reframe. It's like spin, or as it is also known as spin. By denying that we Americans are going to be paying more for everything. I can guarantee you we are going to be paying more. We do not manufacture anything in America anymore. Thank you, corporations. Because what will happen is the imports will get taxed at the port of calls. And in order to please the shareholders' bottom line, they will pass on that tax to all of us, including the shareholders. Now, I work as a third-party vendor's representative for a major printer manufacturer, and I already hear it when I go into work from customers about the cost of ink. And it's going to become worse because of the imports. Fortunately, the company I work for imports most of their ink. Most of our cartridges are made in Indonesia. So that probably won't be too much of an issue for us in regards to tariffs, taxes on that. But the printers are going to go up in cost. In fact, the competitors' printers have already gone up in cost because they are imported. They are manufactured in China and then imported back in because they don't have to pay people a living wage in China as they would have to do here. And so, going back to the art of the set, now, to be honest, I almost got involved with Trump University as one of these salespeople, but I just couldn't do it. So I didn't. So it's sort of like as I said, the client emotions, the time it takes about he figures between 25 to 40 minutes to qualify for this whole thing. And this is what Thwimp was doing is still doing. It's called the Blast. It goes, hope again about getting their real estate investment career going or launching their business. And the psychology behind the Blast is the first sign of relief these people have seen since they were motivated to complete the application. Now, in political terms, that would be the application would be to vote for Donald Trump. And he keeps giving them this blast. He keeps keeping them on the roller coaster of emotions with his rallies. Whereas I prefer to call them the 3-minute hates. But he also needs those rallies because he feeds off of that negative energy. He feeds off it. He needs it. It's as mother's milk to him. So he has to keep ginning things up. Take the border. He's creating chaos at the border deliberately, overcrowding, making it so, see, the problem here, we've got too many people, we can't handle it, blah, 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 blah. He just can't help himself. And what he has done with the help of Fox News and, well, do we dare call it news? Well, I think we can now because some of the people are beginning to wake up to what a con artist, grifter, he and his family are. And he's a wound collector. his groundlings are wound collectors. Right, whether you are a extreme right-winger with an agenda or an extreme left-winger with an agenda, you're a wound collector. Oh, going back to Albany, I met my first actual capo who will gleefully help round up Jews if it comes to that. I can understand supporting BDS, but it's recently come to my attention that according to Die Stürmer, BDS is simply a front group for neo-Nazis. In fact, this guy is also a Hamas supporting Jew. So, I don't know what else to say about that. I could, but I'm not going to. I don't use them words no more, or never did. But wound collecting. This is a term that was first coined by Joe Navarro, the Master of Arts, who was a 25-year veteran of the FBI, and he describes wound collecting, defines it as the conscious and systematic collection and preservation of transgressions, violations, social wrongs, grievances, injustice, unfair treatment, or slights of self and others, for the purpose of nourishing, fortifying, or justifying a malignant ideology, furthering hatred, satisfying a pathology, or for exacting revenge. And now, we see that quite regularly in 45, most recently with his continual hate on for the loathing, even seeing the name of John McCain. What? Tell me, what is about John McCain that irks you so much? The fact that he actually went and fought in Vietnam? That he understood duty and the Constitution? He don't know jack shit, Mr. President. And Navarro goes on to state, what kind of people meet this criteria, and Navarro states, anyone who, because of a personality disorder or character traits, such as insecurities, paranoia, fear, xenophobia, or due to emotional instability, inflexibly seeks to collect wounds and slights for purposes that usually have negative social consequences or is self-serving. And he goes on to give examples of wound collectors. In which he includes, and he goes on to say, after listing several, it goes, so we see wound collectors in cults, certainly cult leaders, definitely in people who lead or join hate groups. But we see it in those with personality disorders such as borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and especially those afflicted with paranoid personality disorder. It goes on to give what the opposite of a wound collector. It goes on to talk about, Thwimp doesn't forgive and he doesn't forget. I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about the Netflix series about the Central Park Five, whom he took out a full page ad in the New York Times, railing on about the young men who were subsequently exonerated through DNA of assaulting and beating a jogger in Central Park, that they should be executed. He still believes them guilty because even though their confessions were coerced, they confessed. Because it doesn't matter. Once you're guilty, you're always guilty. And this is a man who, with no consciousness of guilt, but a subconsciousness of guilt, because he keeps railing on about how innocent he is, how not guilty he is. That must mean somewhere in that fight or flight, reptilian, limbic, prehistoric, what passes for a brain of his, is some consciousness of right and wrong. See, wound collectors, these are common features that Navarro found with wound collectors. They neither forgive and they never truly forget. Often they quiet down only to revive the same subjects at another day. There is no closure. Hillary Clinton! They are hypersensitive to slights even when they are accidental or unintended. They seek slights where others have been victimized in order to piggyback onto those slights. They mistake good intentions for bad or evil, and there's no leniency for honest mistakes. And this is particularly, I always have a problem saying that word. I've always had a problem saying particularly. True of those who are clinically paranoid. Wound collectors tend to focus on one person, a group, and Navarro gives examples such as Hitler and Jews, but I would say Trump and migrants from South and Central America, or an institution, Department of Justice, the FBI, our intelligence community, or they may focus on society in general. So I think Mr. Navarro, wound collectors tend to perceive the world as either you are with them or you are against them, and any attempt to ameliorate or explain slight only enrages them further. And this is where the rallies come in. We all know that he loves that audience adulation, that narcissist, that love of everything. And we puzzle over why he keeps repeating himself and talks about how he won and how evil Hillary Clinton is and this, that, and the other, and the fake news and the witch hunt and Mueller and blah, da, blah, da, blah. That's because he's brain locked on them. He needs those slights because those slights, those imagined offenses, especially from smart, intelligent women who best him, he needs those. He can't let those go. They are what feed him. And don't listen to what he's saying. Let's say how he's saying it. He repeats himself. He uses an advertising technique of repeating something 3 times. No collusion, no collusion, no collusion. And when you read his tweets, every time you see a noun capitalized, he has made it a pronoun. He has personalized it. He has given it a living meaning. So the things he capitalizes, the words that he capitalizes, are very important to him. And I believe that and it's very hard for me to read his tweets or listen to his voice. I've never been able to stand the tone of his voice. It's grating to my ears. I don't know about you. It's not supercilious. It's just the way he talks in the third person. Like he disassociates from himself when he speaks about himself. I have no problems using the pronoun I. Absolutely none. which you probably have observed. And he brings other wound collectors into his fold by speaking not in an elevated manner, but he speaks essentially down. If you take a listen to the way if you listen to him when he was a younger man, besides his creepiness about his daughter, just forget about that shit, but just listen to him talk about other things. He might be a know-nothing about business, but I think he talks at a higher educational level than he speaks now. Because I believe that during the time he was learning how to scam people, he began to understand how they speak. I mean, even on The Apprentice, he had a higher grade vocabulary. And his presentation was different. I don't know if that's just the polish. Not really sure if that was the polish of the directing or what. Or if you took a few acting lessons, I don't know. But he sure learned how to manipulate language from Tony Robbins. And one of the things we need to do is, when one of his tweets flutter by in our Twitter feed, we have to suppress the urge to amplify it by retweeting it with a comment. Because not everybody in our Twitter feeds follows Donald Trump. So why give him more free advertising? Or if you feel you must retweet, spin it, rewrite it, reframe it, restate it. You can do it. And if you don't think you can, what you want to do is do some practice. Grab some tweets, rewrite them, take a look at his language pattern. His vocabulary isn't that great, isn't that big. My cousin with Down syndrome has a larger vocabulary. So it all depends. So it's up. Because when we amplify him, when we retweet him, or we retweet Hannity, who I am happily blocked by, we give them more oxygen. We spread their message. I mean, if you must tweet about Hannity, just don't retweet the video to say, hey, dumbass is, doing his dumbassery thing again. I'm happy I don't see his tweets, but I do see, the video clips. I don't click on them because I don't want to give them the clicks, the listen-tos. And Chuckleson, Carl Chuckleson is still hurting America. He's been hurting America since Crossfire. So, and you're listening to the 523 Happy Hour here on netrootsradio.com.
It's Tom. Could we humbly suggest your donation to netrootsradio.com? All we've got to run this 24-hour powerhouse of progressive resistance radio is what comes out of our own wallets. And you are our biggest donor. And it doesn't take much, $3, $5. Just go to the bottom of our netrootsradio.com page and hit our secure donate button. Heck, you can even make a recurring contribution, and you'll get a wondiferous pair of Netroots radio stickers for application to your backpack, your bumper sticker, or your banjo. Well, it's up to you which backpack you want to put it on. So donate what you'd like at the bottom of our netrootsradio.com's homepage, because you are our biggest donor. netrootsradio.com. Together, we are Resistance Radio.
And welcome back to the 523 Happy Hour here on netrootsradio.com, to which you are listening. Now, also, I want to send out my condolences to the friends and family and co-workers of the 12 people who lost their lives today in the massacre in Virginia Beach, and to the people that are injured and still in the hospital. And I've got to say, I admire the mayor of the city of Virginia Beach, who said that he was only going to mention the name of the shooter once, and that was going to be it. The next time, any other time, he would after that he would only be referred to as the suspected shooter, because, as he said, and it's very important that we focus on the living and the people, on the living, the wounded, and the people whom he murdered. Let's say shot, murdered. We have to start using that clean phrase. Killed. He killed 12 people. No, he murdered 12 people. Big difference. You kill when you know. If you kill somebody, it's an accident. Like, you know, your brakes fail at a red light and you hit somebody, or you rear end your brakes fail and you rear end another car and send somebody to the hospital. It's like it wasn't accidental. But this was deliberate. And way back, this office place shootings really aren't all that new, because I'm old enough to remember when it was called going postal, because there was a spate of shootings in post offices where postal workers would shoot up the post office or the sorting area, and it was known as going postal. So, but there's been such a rash of them that you've got to wonder what the stress, what's causing this, because, see, are we under more stress these days because of the anxieties we have? Has the fact that we have somebody who has no concept of right and wrong, of restraint, who flippantly throws the word treason around when there are there's only the Constitution clearly defines how the situation in which one can be charged and tried for treason. And that's if we're at war with somebody, and we haven't been at war with anybody since World War II, or declared war since World War II. Every other conflict we've been involved in has been a police action, or it's been undeclared. So I can understand why people were upset. Well, Al-Amriki, the American Al-Qaeda who was killed in a drone attack, why they were upset at his death. But he was, we were not in a declared war, but we were definitely at war with Al-Qaeda, and he was giving aid and comfort. So I didn't have an issue with the drone attack that killed him. He knew the risk. He took it willingly. And but to throw treason around simply because you're afraid, because of maybe that's because they're concerned that they've committed treason, and that's why they feel compelled to accuse the FBI and the NSA and the intelligence community in general of treason, because they know that they have committed treason, unwittingly, or maybe wittingly, once Trump admitted that Russia helped get him elected. So, what do y'all think about it? Oh, that's what that is. I have a sound effect. That sound effect is an old-fashioned dial tone from a telephone. And when I loaded it, it was like dial tone, but looking at the title, it says soundbible.com, must credit, soundbible.com, must credit. So that was that sound effect came from the soundbible.com, and they've got a shit ton of really cool sound effects for free. You just have to credit them. I also have some other stuff here. Oh, I've got 2 copies of that, so I can. There we go. And oh, what was I going to say? I forgot. Let me check my notes. My goats. Let me check my mind maps. My mindless maps. I'm very proud of myself. I have multiple blank books that my mind maps go into, and I've got a ton of them. And I am seriously nearly through one of them, because I also use it for my drawings, such as they are. And Why are you going here? I actually dog-eared and ripped some pages, the ones I wanted to use with it, and basically, we're talking about concept of shame and guilt and consciousness of guilt. And part of your homework is when you do listen to Donald Trump speak, or he does something like the tariff thing, it's all diversionary. It's like, he's doing a sleight of hand, wanting you to look somewhere else while he's picking your pocket. Close-up magic, it's all sleight of hand, it's all distraction, it's all getting you to just look somewhere else while it's going on. Although there's some really good sleight of hand magicians out there. I have a friend who's a close-up magician, does sleight of hand, card magic, and the like. But that's for entertainment purposes. This guy, the people in the Republican Party, are practicing their version of sleight of mouth and sleight of hand and weaseling up, weasel words and weasels and this, that, and the other, and it's all going to come, hopefully, it will come up and bite them in the ass. They will get their just desserts. And we, in a way, have become complacent, us keyboard warriors. Well, protest on the weekends. No, damn it, we should be out in the streets right now, protesting. Can't fire all of us. They'd have to turn loose all... See, there will never be a stop to the flow of undocumented migrants into America because too many industries depend on the undocumented. Construction, why even kosher slaughterhouses rely on undocumented workers. Donald Trump's properties rely on undocumented workers for housekeeping because they don't have to pay them a minimum wage. They don't have to pay them at all. And what are they going to do? Come forward to get deported. And they know that. Can't even get enough migrant workers to harvest. And God forbid an American wants to do such back-breaking work. In California, they actually have to make a effort to hire American workers for this. And so they publish, a little blurb about their hiring, or, and they actually a group, I forgot where it was, but one farm hired a bunch of Americans, and most of them didn't show up, and the rest who did show up couldn't last the day. It's hard work. Now, I've said this before. Donald Trump says that he can't find Americans who will work seasonally. Hey, Mr. Trump, I've done seasonal work. I have aerated golf courses. You just don't want to hire Americans because then you have to play by American labor laws because we'll be able to complain. I work 2 days a week. I could use another source of income. I'd like to raise my income standard, my income. But it's really quite difficult to find a part-time job that will let me work only during the week and will give me time off every 4 weeks to see a doctor. to see my psychiatrist, my therapist. Or we'll get they won't do it. You have to be able to work weekends. And I'm making, and they're also they're not going to match my per hour rate on my weekend job. So what can I say? Want to buy a painting?
Powered by UnityNet. You are listening to netrootsradio.com. We are Resistance Radio.
And welcome back. I've just been going on and on and on and on and on, and it's been a great day. Okay. I'm giggling to myself for some odd reason. Guess it's You know, I wrote this a while ago. In the 60s and 70s, we guilt-tripped people. That was the phrase. We guilt-tripped. And the way to social equity is not by guilt-tripping or by shaming over that which we have no control over, such as race, ethnicity, status, since it breeds resentment and does not change. And the resentment gives rise to hate groups. Because people who feel left out, marginalized, which is kind of weird for white people to feel marginalized. Now, I'm nominally white. According to the U.S. Census government, I'm white. I'm Jewish. But that's only the government that says that. So, nominally white is how I describe myself. White by the grace of the United States government. And it's not just, and we tend to think of people that join hate groups are lower income, lower education, but there's a lot of high status people in these hate groups. Hate is one thing that is one of the things that brings people of all socioeconomic backgrounds together, just as love brings people of various socioeconomic backgrounds together. And we need to start looking at the good and the positive. As hard as that is, because we seem to be wired to always look for the negative, to be the pessimist. So, I'm not saying that we should just be all love and light, and new agey, touchy-feely, but we need to look towards positive outcomes. We need to, if we are truly to resist what is going on, then we must take up metaphorical arms and start working to combat the trolls that are coming out. Russia has gone from bots to humans. So we need to come together and form our own Defense Force, the Internet Defense League, the IDL, destroying troll bridges, troll habitat wherever they be found. So how do we do that? Again, by reframing them, by not retweeting them, or even responding to them. We deny them the oxygen of attention, of response that they desperately need. Or if you feel, again, you must respond to the trolling, do it with wit and grace. Confuse them with bullshit. They're bullshitting. They are here to sow discord and divisiveness. So don't pass it on. Realize that if you're outspoken enough, they're going to mass report you because you're hurting their fifis, because you're being mean to them. Also, work on your meme strategy. These guys, we got to come up, we got to start, fighting memes with memes. Elevating our... If we need to respond to a troll, we need to elevate the response. Expand your vocabulary of insults. Dismantle them by dismantling their arguments instead of just responding to them. And don't even tell them you're blocking them. Just do it. I'm a veteran of Usenet Flame Wars, and some of you are going, what the hell is Usenet? Well, think of it as Facebook before Facebook, where you had user groups. And the basic way of, sometimes you would announce that you were kill filing somebody, and which was how you blocked them, and you would not see anything. You wouldn't see any of their primary posts, but you would see them in replies. So, but at least you didn't see the original, you saw the reply. I've blocked a lot of people on Twitter just because I don't want them polluting my feed. I'll see Donald Trump in retweets, but don't retweet him. Don't talk about, don't give, deny them. Kellyanne Conway, don't retweet. Sarah Huckabee, don't retweet. None of these people are worth amplifying. Don't feed their egos, man. It's what they want. They want to set you off. They want to push your buttons. That's all they want to do. That's all they want to do.
The new American Resistance. NetRootsRadio.com.
Now, I forgot to mute my microphone, so I don't even know if you actually heard that or not. So I have to, it's, like I said, I had some issues. I walked away from my studio with my Bluetooth headphones on, and they disconnected, and they reconnected, but still playing through the output. It's the software. I would have had to quit, start back up. It was just too much work to do, and it's all I can say. So I'm going to say, for now, stay tuned for Katie Speaks with Katie Klaubithisch. And at midnight, join me and Ricky for the late night morning talk show here on NetRootsRadio.com.
This is going to be a disaster.